The Chicano Money Trap documentary. Antonio Alvarez, other known as Tony the Wizard, is a Mexican-American DJ / music producer from Wilmington, California. Tony A started his music career working at the Rhodium Swap Meet with his musical mentor Steve Yano. Tony started mixing and selling mixtapes with guests like Eazy-E, DJ Quick, and Dr. Dre, to name a few. In 1989, Tony A would get his break by producing for Compton rapper High C, with their smash hit I'm Not Your Puppet. The song got great recognition in the LA area, and Tony's mentor Steve Yano would start a label called Scanless Records, where the duo High C and Tony A would record under. In this clip, Tony explains how the song and the label came about.
And he loved oldies. He lived in the city of Whittier. Obviously, that's all raza out there. So he grew up listening to oldies, But so when he heard that I'm Your Puppet, he just thought, like, it's a no-brainer. Let's do it. So
what do you think made him invest in? You mentioned earlier that High C was 16.
Yeah,
and
I think that's the reason why Steve was, to me, in my opinion, he was a visionary. He saw things. For an example, he saw a black artist and a Chicano. And he thought, hasn't been done. The crazy part is that before he ever invested money, he wanted to see if that song would sell. And he told me, I sold thousands of those cassettes.
And just like that, Scanless Records was out. The label mostly consisted of High C projects and the Roots of Hip Hop series. There was also a Proper Dose album under the label. The label turned dry after a few years, and Tony A stopped producing music and went back to the workforce, as he explains on this clip.
From 2002 to 2017, I was working in the distribution center for Rouse in the city of Compton. For 15 years, I pressed mute on music. I didn't want nothing to do with music.
Tony A explains how he came back to the limelight when he released the Rhodium documentary.
So I was working. Steve Yano passes away. With my own money, I went ahead and got together a crew, and I did a documentary honoring him so that his name would no longer be erased if we go from West Coast hip-hop history, okay?
Dope.
So people are telling me, you need to get on podcasts.
And just like that, Tony A is back on the scene. For many, this is the first time people heard the name Tony A. To Tony's credit, he was a dope producer who worked with many great rap legends. We can't take that away from him. And now he was here in the podcast world, reinventing and reintroducing himself and gaining steam with the Chicano community. Though the original concept for the podcast was to promote the Rhodium documentary, the show took a life of its own, and was a good place for upcoming artists and Chicano rap legends to share a stage and promote their music. For the most part, Tony was doing his thing in the niche Chicano rap circuit, interviewing mostly Latino artists and a few West Coast legends in between. At the time, Tony A was definitely carving out a new lane that many after would follow, as far as interviewing Chicano artists and shedding some light towards the genre. Even though Rhodium Radio was helping introduce new artists to people that may not have ever heard of them otherwise, some would say that Tony's knowledge of their music was almost non-existent. Others might say that the host should do their homework on the guest and get familiar with their music before interviewing them, but Tony didn't seem to have a clue on their discography or really anything on these upcoming rappers' music. Nothing. Still, Rhodium Radio went on, and was a well-respected show. Tony even started booking both Chicano and black rap legends to share their stories in the music industry. At this time, Tony was hinting at possibly working on making a Chicano rap documentary. Even though Tony A was not necessarily the person you think about when you think Chicano rap, he definitely had the know-how on making documentaries. I mean, that's how he came back to the scene with the Rhodium documentary. And at the time, for the exception of a few, which we'll find out later why, Tony had a good relationship with a lot of the Chicano rap legends from LA to San Diego. So Tony not only had knowledge of filming a documentary, he was now interviewing Chicano rappers on his show, so it would be easy to book them for the upcoming documentary. One can say Tony had all the connections and the resources to pull it off. Or did he? Surprisingly though, Tony would start a campaign to fund this upcoming documentary, and he would ask the subscribers to pitch in and donate to this project, and in return you would get your name in the end credits and a few perks when the movie would come out.
We started a GoFundMe page because we need you to help us meet our goal. And our goal is to release a Chicano rap documentary. And we need you to be a part of this. Everyone who contributes will have certain incentives offered to them. For an example, I'll name one. Your name will be on the credits of the film. Everyone who gives, everyone who contributes, their name will be on the credits. That's just one thing that we have to offer. But yet, if you read the description, you'll see other incentives for your contribution.
The Chicano rap audience is a smaller niche in hip-hop, but the fans are very loyal and tend to support their artist, whether it's going to shows, buying merch. So when Tony A started the GoFundMe for the culture, fans were there to support, and support they did. Check out this clip where the wizard talks about the GoFundMe. Instead of being grateful with the people, Tony is obviously annoyed and somewhat of a dickhead when he announces they exceeded the budget. Check it out.
Let's talk a little bit about the GoFundMe that people have been asking for. So I'm going to address it now, and I'm not going to address it again. So I'm just letting you know now, okay? One time. So if you watch this video, maybe you're going to have to go rewind it and watch it again. So up on the screen should be the GoFundMe page, and it shows the budget. The budget that we asked you guys for was for the $15,000. That was the budget for the GoFundMe, and we actually hit a little bit over 18. Thanks to you guys. So we want to thank you guys, applaud you guys for blessing us with that. There was two idiots going around mouthing off, bumping gums. And the reason why I say bumping gums, because one of them doesn't have teeth. But saying that we collected $50,000. I don't know where in the hell they got that number from. But if you go on my IG.
Okay, let's pause it here. Let's go over what Tony is getting at. During this time, there were a few things going on behind the scenes at Rhodium Radio. Tony A along with his son were accused of egg show wall assault from a former collaborator with the show. First off, there was no sign of the Chicano documentary being started or no sign of any Chicano rappers being interviewed. So supporters of Tony A's documentary started questioning when it would start rolling. Second rumor started that Tony had spent the GoFundMe money lawyering up for his sexual assault case. Let's listen to this clip of Sandy Pants, the girl who had the case against Tony A, and his son talk about what she had heard going on with the case and the Chicano rap documentary.
Hey, my name is Sandy Pants, and many of you might know me, and some of you might not know me. And the reason why we're here today is because I've been brought up a lot regarding this Chicano rap documentary. I know there was a lot of people that were robbed from their money, and a lot of money. And I wanted to clarify one thing is that until today, which is the endings of 2023, I have not received a single dime. So to clarify, I have not gotten a single dime, and that money that was donated has not been used on my case. So with that being said, me and the Chicano rap community have something in common. We were both screwed. We were both taken advantage of. And number 3, I dare say we were all raped.
Word got around, and supporters and some frequent guests of the show began to back off of the show a bit while the trial was set to start. And then Chicano rap legend to many, and a friend of the show, rapper Night Owl, allegedly had a conversation with Tony where the wizard stated he had a conversation with the female accuser, where she supposedly put Night Owl at the scene of the crime.
This girl, and I said earlier, until there's paperwork, anyone could accuse anyone of anything.
Well, okay, look, with that being said, that's very true. But, okay, I'm going to say a few things, okay? Now, the reason why I'm going to say these things is because he tried to throw me under the bus. Now, let
me say it real quick, and you come in. Now, what I was about to tell you very clearly, I want to tell you guys, the only reason Sandy had any connection with us, which we have no connection with her, we've never met her. Okay, the only reason was because Tony, besides Tony Night Owl said, hey, this girl wants to interview me. And he said, oh, watch out. She accused you of rape too. And Night Owl never met her. Go ahead, Night Owl.
Okay, the way it went down was obviously Tony did something to this girl. Okay.
Allegedly.
No, well, in my mind, he did. Okay. Now, do I have the proof? I didn't see him. Okay, but in my mind, he obviously did something to her. That's my thought. Reason being, okay, he had told me before in conversation, oh, there's this girl that came over here, we did this, we did that, she gave us head, and then, we kicked her out of here and blah, 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 and then she got a flat and blah, blah, blah. Okay, I didn't know who the person was that he was talking about. Okay, I found out who the person was later, and I'll get to it. But anyways, he would tell me a whole bunch of shit that I'm not going to get into and put him on blast on. But he would tell me lots of things. Now, we would have conversations almost on a daily basis, and I thought, hey, this guy's my boy. He tells me all kinds of bullshit. He trusts me. We're cool, whatever. My homie, you know what I mean? Yeah. So then all of a sudden, he tells me, obviously, okay, listen to this, people, and pay attention. Obviously, he's aware of a certain situation that has to do with rape. How would he know that if he wasn't aware of it? Now, what I mean by that is he tells me, he goes, hey, you know this girl named Sandy? I go, no, I don't. I don't know who she is. He goes, you don't know who she is? I'm like, no. Then he says, well, she's going around accusing me and you of raping her. I go, what do you mean? Okay, he threw me in there, okay? That we gave her some fucking pills and put her to sleep, and we did whatever to her. And then I'm like, well, you're out of your mind, bro. I don't know who she is. So what Tony did, he fucking planned that. Yeah, he made me be like, well, F her in my mind, and he wanted me to do something to her so that basically I can get the heat off him. Okay. And the reason why I figured that out, because I'm like, well, I don't know this girl. Why would she say something like that? Then I end up talking to her. And when I end up talking to her, I tell her what Tony said. And she goes, you know what, Night Owl, that's bullshit, because we've never even met. I don't even know you. And I said, thank you. That's what I thought. And that's when she told me, well, I'm going to tell you what happened that night, and I'm going to break it down to you, and I'm going to give you some
Don't go into detail.
Months passed, and to Tony's defense, the charges were dropped from the civil rape case. Let's also state it wasn't a criminal case but a civil case, meaning it was for monetary purposes. Let's hear Tony explain what happened during court.
This victory to me, it's almost bittersweet, and I'll tell you why. Because once again, I have to state this. This is not criminal. It's never been criminal. We've established that. This is civil, meaning she wanted money. When it came to us being acquitted of this rape, the jury sided with us.
Right.
In a civil case, you just have to get 9 people to agree out of 12, and you're acquitted.
Right.
It was unanimous.
It's easier to convict than civil.
Yes. Is he most likely to have done it or most likely not to have done it? It was unanimous.
No.
In our favor.
Right.
Okay.
He did not do it.
Right.
So just like that, the jacket was off of Tony being a maniaco, and frequent guest for the most part, were coming back on the show, and messing with Tony again. But quite a few past guests were still questioning what was up with the documentary. It had already been well over 2 years and no one had heard anything of the process, and no guests that were actually interviewed. Royalty and Night Owl talk about Tony's motives, his validity to even do a Chicano rap documentary, and what a lot of the fans were thinking in this clip.
And I had his back regardless. Okay, always had his back. But when things changed, bro, when I started seeing how greedy he was, and that all the money he took from every single fan, he didn't do nothing but fucking pocket the money. They all gave money in, we're going to get a Chicano rap documentary, and they want to fucking get something that is going to represent our culture. Now, Has he done anything for the culture? No, he hasn't. He just took the money. Everybody is waiting on it. And if they want to know the truth, ask him to show proof. Show something that you've done as far as anybody that you've interviewed for the documentary. There's nothing that he can prove. There's nothing that he can bring to the table because it doesn't exist. So basically, the fans have gotten fucking jacked, and he's going around saying, "Oh, you know, I'm Tony A. I'm helping the culture." You ain't helping shit, you fucking fraud. You ain't helping nobody because all you've done is lie about everything. You had this all planned, bro. He didn't do shit. He didn't DJ for nobody. He didn't do nothing. All of a sudden, once he sees a little movement on the Chicano thing that we've started to fucking create a buzz on, he fucking gets involved and he says, "Hey, I'm going to do a podcast. I'm going to make some money and I'm going to fucking support Chicano rap." Okay, he disappeared for like 14 years. Nobody knew who Tony A was. Now, all of you dumb fucking fans, ask yourselves right now, do you know Tony A from before? Or did you just recently hear about him? Thank you very much. The answer is there. Now that he's known, he got cocky and he thinks he's the man. And he's told you guys, "Oh, I'm going to do a Chicano rap documentary." He fucking brainwashed all you guys and all you guys gave money. Money for what? Money so he can put it in his fucking pocket? Where's the fucking new equipment that he can show you guys that he's bought? Where's the
Hold
fucking...
on, one second.
Yeah.
They're starting to get confused because they're like, "Why didn't you guys?" Because we were like, "Cool, he's gonna do something for us. He's gonna be part of this." We made him part of it, and we didn't know he was gonna burn us. He ended up blocking us. So go ahead, Naito.
All right. So yeah. So what ended up happening is he basically just dicked everybody out of their money. Now, I don't understand how the fans can be like, "Oh, he's so great." Think about it. What has he done for Chicano rap? Who did he produce? Listen to the people that he produced, and their careers were over in the 90s. They were not around when me, Royal, Shadow, Little One were on the streets fucking hustling, keeping Chicano rap alive.
Mr. D, Kid Fro, we'll give every,
all of them. All of them. But what I'm saying is, you know, ask him to show you proof for the documentary that he's filmed me, or that he's filmed Royalty, or that he's filmed Shadow, or that he's filmed Kid Frost, or that he's filmed Tony G, or that he's filmed Capone, or that he's filmed Mr. D, or that he's filmed anybody from the Chicano rap game that means anything from back in the day.
Not a new guy that'll go run to him right now and he'll get on there.
And start filming all these new dudes that have nothing to do with the foundation of Chicano rap. Okay? So we're not the ones that are fucked up here. And you guys, the fans that are, "Oh my God, you know, Tony A's great." You know, Tony A ain't shit.
The facts are this. Tony A started the GoFundMe for this Chicano rap documentary in April 2020. This is going on almost 5 years ago, and not a single clip of this so-called documentary. A short documentary, which is usually under 20 minutes, can take 6 to 8 weeks to produce. A feature documentary can take a year or more. More complex topics may require more time to explore. But we're talking about a Chicano rap documentary, not a film about the theory of evolution. Nothing about this documentary taking over 5 years makes sense. After constant questioning about the film and its validity started taking place, spearheaded by Royalty and Night Owl, and the supporters who donated to the film started circulating. Tony went an on-excuse press run, followed by more lame stories why the film was taking such a long time. Here's a few clips.
I've heard recently, maybe, I don't know, it's been a while since you're still going to do that.
Of course, it's already halfway done.
Okay, good. I'm just giving the audience an update if they haven't heard since the last time you spoke.
No, you know what?
Because I know you were passionate about doing it.
Yes, and you know what's crazy, bro? When we take calls, I welcome people to ask me, but nobody ever calls and asks me that question. They'll just write it on a comment. "What's up with the documentary, fool?" You know, and I'm like, call me, bro.
Nobody wants to call live.
So I would say we should be done editing by everything and filming by April of 2023.
Can you give us anything about it? Who's involved?
I'm going to talk to you after.
Ah, come on.
Look, let me tell you something, Rob. The reason why I don't, and people always say every time you take a deep breath, it's going to be good.
People also say when you take a deep breath, here comes another lie. Like this doozy.
So I would say we should be done editing by everything and filming by April of 2023. April of 2023.
April of 2023.
And then there was this story that sounds like bullshit. And I'll tell you why after we hear Tony's excuse.
Do you have yet, Tony, release date for the Chicano rap documentary? I'm gonna take a two-part question. And do you regret even attempting to make the Chicano rap documentary?
You know what? I'm trying to decide which one to answer first. I don't want to say regret, because when I set out to do this, I got a phone call from a close friend that told me, be careful doing that. And I said, why? He said, because I tried it before, and goes, and my own people backstabbed me. He said, they knew that I had a budget, but when they knew I had a budget, now they all want to get paid. A lot of people don't know. And I don't say this to talk shit about anybody, but I want to lay down the facts on why it took so long to even get to where we're at when it comes to this documentary. I had a guy working for me named John Elkins. I just want to take time to thank everybody for making this possible. I want to take the time to thank my main cameraman, John, right here. He's the white dude. He was my right-hand man. I trusted this guy with everything. This guy had every password to my website, to my YouTube, to everything. I trusted this guy, and I would pay him monthly. And he was making good money, okay? We were making good money as far as like monetization off the website, the mixtapes that we were reproducing, and we were about to release a documentary on DVD. It was sky's the limit. We were making so much good money that we were about to go into another building.
I remember that.
Okay? And I just kind of, this part in short, he got scared when things went south with Night on Royal. And then when this girl came out with his false allegations, he got scared, okay? Somebody started sending him his address, like through a fake page.
And posting it and stuff.
Yes, and so he came back to me and he said, bro, I started this like to have fun, you know, but now I'm getting threatened. The only other person that had his address was that girl. Sandy, the one that we call Sandy Pants.
Right.
Okay. She's the only one that had his address. And the only reason why she had his address, because he was supposed to shoot her OnlyFans pictures at his house. But that just never happened. Okay. Well, I know it was her that gave away, because she's given away my address as well, and others individuals, even our numbers. Okay. So he got scared, and one day he just packed up and left. He left with the footage that we had for the Chicano rap. He left after I paid him, and he left with half of the equipment. Okay? So people, I'm not gonna go public with that. So what I did, whatever was left, I just bought more equipment, what he left with, and I got my team together, a new team. We started filming, COVID hits. Nobody wants to do interviews.
Yeah, everything shut down.
So now we have to reshoot everything that he took. And that's what happened. We're halfway done, like I said before. We haven't started editing anything. And the reason why I don't want to promote it, because the mistake that I learned, never start promoting something before it's done.
Yes.
Or before you even start. This is what really doesn't make sense about Tony's story. If Tony's main cameraman John Elkins really left filming the documentary because he was scared, why would he take off with all the footage and steal Tony's equipment, and make it worse by making an enemy out of Tony? That type of action, taking all the footage and stealing equipment, doesn't really align with a person who's scared for his life. It actually sounds more like a disgruntled employee, who probably didn't get paid. Tony himself said he knows where he lives. Why not go and talk to him with your little friend? Oh wait, wrong Tony. But on a serious note, if this story was true, and John Elkins stole equipment, and footage, why not take legal action? In all honesty, this equipment is property of the supporters who helped fund this film. Why wouldn't Tony the Wizard fight for them?
So basically, the fans have gotten fucking jacked, and he's going around saying, "Oh, you know, I'm Tony A. I'm helping the culture." You ain't helping shit, you fucking fraud.
Rest in peace, Night Owl, but he called it long before he passed away, and in typical Tony fashion, he diverts the backlash he was getting to royalty and Night Owl instead of producing any type of progress of the films to who really matters, the fans and supporters of the Chicano Trap documentary. Do you remember this clip, where Tony stated he had no problems people asking about the documentary? He actually said he encouraged fans to call him about it.
No, you know what?
Because I know you were passionate about doing it.
Yes, and you know what's crazy, bro? When we take calls, I welcome people to ask me, but nobody ever calls and asks me that question. They'll just write it on a comment. What's up with the documentary, fool? You know, and I'm like, call me, bro.
Nobody wants to call live.
I always say, if you got the balls, make the calls. Okay.
My guess is he was flooded with these calls, and he was full of shit. Look how frustrated he sounds with his supporters.
Let's talk a little bit about the GoFundMe that people have been asking for. So I'm going to address it now, and I'm not going to address it again. So I'm just letting you know now, okay? One time, so if you watch this video, maybe you're going to have to go rewind it and watch it again.
And since Night Owl and royalty were on his helmet and calling him on his bullshit, he went on this little rant.
Look, but let me say this. Before those two individuals, one of them, rest in peace, went live and started telling people that I was ripping them off, nobody was questioning anything.
So basically what Tony is saying is, before Royal and Night Owl called him out on his bullshit and started asking Tony to show proof that this documentary was happening, Tony had everyone fooled, and the supporters of this film should just wait around for years and wait on Tony, mind you, with not a single clip or any sign that this movie had even started. And let's not forget, by this time Night Owl had already passed and so much time had gone by, again with no sign or date when the film would come out.
Our own people put those thoughts in our people's minds, so people started attacking me.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You know, where is it? Where is it? I never give you a date, bro. Is it going to get done? Absolutely.
Wait. He actually did. For one, he said he was halfway done, and again, let's not forget this doozy of a lie.
So I would say we should be done editing by everything and filming by April of 2023.
And let's not forget all the rants and disdain in his voice when he talks about the Raza, going on and on about how our own people bring us down and want to get paid for being in this documentary. Though this is the same guy that cried about Raza not wanting to pay him for his work. No, Wizard, you can't have it both ways. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. You need to pay up, sucka.
Even in today's industry, if somebody gets you and they say, hey, we want to hire you for this, it's business.
Right. Now, I will say this. Working on the black side of the industry, the majority of all of them had record deals. So they had budgets. I had guys on the street that were rapping or rhyming cat with hat and wanted a record deal and wanted me to do their music for free. I'm not going to do that. So when I would turn them down, oh, he only works for blacks. No, they're the only ones paying.
I work for who pays me, fool.
Okay. Before I start working, I want at least half of it up front.
Right.
Before I start working. When I'm done, I want the other half.
Right.
Okay. I was already pretty much 4 songs into it. I had already directed the video and premiered it here. And respectfully, I'm going to say this because I don't have no problem with them.
Right.
I haven't received 1 penny yet. I hadn't received anything.
Rumor has it that some of the more established artists, who were supposed to be in this documentary, were asking for money to be in the film. Now I am sure there's mixed feelings about this, but let's think about this. Why wouldn't these artists want to be compensated for being in the movie? I mean, so far Tony got his whole budget from his supporters, and at this point he hadn't put a dime into it, and once the film did come out, there would money also coming in, from the sales and possible network deals. But Tony has been consistently shitting on Chicano artists, their craft, the way they do business, and obviously has a disdain for these artists. So why would a guy like this, who hardly worked with Chicano artists, be the person in charge of a Chicano rap documentary? It just wouldn't make sense. We are now going on 5 years that Tony the Money Wizard started this GoFundMe, and it seems the more and more time goes by, the less and less he even talks about the process, and when it's supposed to come out. It's a real shame. Somehow he has time for some of these shitty mediocre shows he's been putting out, but no time to make this documentary he promised to his fans. He's been getting called out, even by some of his podcast peers. Here's a few podcasters going in on Tony. Check it out.
You gotta have a studio, you gotta have a nice shirt and tie, you have to have this in order to ask the question, and I'm asking the question. Is the Chicano rap documentary being done, or did the people just get scammed? There will be people who say and sit there and say, hey, it's a donation, you can do what you want. No, a super chat is a donation. A donation for GoFund, when you're asking for a specific item you're going to do, a specific event you're going to throw, people want to see that. That would be like myself coming on here right now and telling you, hey, I'm doing a turkey drive. I'm doing a GoFund. I want a couple grand for this turkeys. And then that turkey drive never happens. And you never see me at a turkey drive. And if somebody asks me, hey, Gil, what happened at a turkey drive? Did you donate? Then why are you asking? And then when people start questioning, you say, oh, man, you a leech. Nah, homie, we ain't leeches, carnal. It might be the other way around.
American Cholo boycotting tranzas, a.k.a. Spike a Drink, right? A.k.a. there will be no documentary until I say so. I feel like this fool should have been boycotted. If that's what you gotta do, that fool should have been canceled. That fool should have been canceled years ago, years ago. But everyone still had faith that he was a good guy, that he was going to produce what he said he was going to produce. Everyone had faith that the over $20,000 that was that was donated for the documentary with promises made. Keep that in mind. That's what a lot of fools say, well, it's donations. It was donations. It was donations given with promises made.
Some platforms are tired of waiting on this fake Chicano trap documentary, and are taking it upon themselves to do what Tony had promised.
I'm gonna give you some exclusive news right now that no one knows.
Let's go. Talk about it.
The food community is putting out the very first ever Chicano rap documentary. Right now, I could drop Era 1 right now.
Right now.
But I actually have interviewed the founders of Latino rap in the West Coast, Julio G and Tony G, the mix masters from K-Day, the people that brought you Mellow Man Ace, Kid Frost, ALT the Saint, Toker from the Brown Side.
By the looks of it, this project is like Dr. Dre's Detox album. It just ain't never coming out. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Until next time, Street Docs is out.